The other day, right, I told this guy I'd just met, honestly, I'm not really into sweet stuff. And he goes, wait, really? That's rare for a girl? I was like, sorry, it's a taste bud situation, babe. Calm down. And yeah, maybe statistically loads of women like sweet things, whatever. But in that moment, I realised, oh, he's not seeing me. He's seeing girl as a category. And at the exact same time, I started seeing him as this social type bloke as well. Funny, innit? The second someone turns you into a symbol, you kind of do it back without even noticing. But honestly, when people say women love sweet things, I think they're confusing it with the way women socialise. Because loads of female friendship is basically, life's awful. That's why girls go to cafes and eat parfaits. That's why they go out for tea. There just happens to be sweet stuff there, that's all. Not some biological cheesecake instinct, and low-key, I think men should do that more, like properly, not even joking. Just, mate, I'm actually struggling a bit. That sounds rough. Done. Beautiful. Revolutionary even. What kills me though is when people act all superior about logic over emotion. Like, babe, you want people to emotionally validate your logic so badly. You're still asking for connection. You just want it dressed up as intellectual approval. And also, people mix up empathy and agreement all the time. They're not the same thing. Like if your mate gets cheated on and goes, yeah, but I still want to make it work. You can think, girl, absolutely not, while still saying, God, you really love him, don't you? That's empathy, not agreement. Or like your nan going on about marriage being the meaning of life. You don't have to agree with her worldview to understand why it mattered to her generation. Empathy isn't, we are the same person. It's more, I want to understand how you got there. That's why I find it weird when people treat disagreement like rejection. Like, someone says, I see your point, but I think differently, and suddenly it's war. Because loads of people don't see conversation as connection. They see it as performance, or debate club, or survival. And don't even get me started on the whole let's be objective here thing. Every time someone says that online, I'm like, mate, your objectivity is still your personality wearing glasses. That's still a perspective, still emotional, still shaped by what you want to believe about yourself. The whole I alone am calm and rational thing. Maybe keep that one in the fantasy section. You can't reason with women because they just want empathy. Okay, but like, you do realise you want empathy too, right? You want people to care about what you're saying. You want them to be interested. You want them to go, yeah, I see your point. That's still emotional validation, babe. And empathy isn't about ignoring logic or putting feelings above facts. It's more like setting the same context before the actual conversation starts. Like, okay, we're standing on the same page right now. That part matters. It's basically the protocol for human conversation, because if you start talking to someone while already treating them like some irrational alien who could never possibly understand you, then are you actually trying to communicate, or are you just judging them? Honestly, throwing facts at someone without shared context is kind of like suddenly speaking a foreign language at full speed without checking if the other person even understands it. Empathy isn't just emotional agreement, it's a tool for syncing context before logic even works. And also, when people become interested in worlds they know nothing about, it's usually not just because of the subject itself, it's because they're interested in the person seeing that world. Like, you can listen to someone talk for hours about music. trains, insects, football, coding, literally anything, if the way they see it is interesting enough. So before going, ugh, people just don't understand logical conversations, have you ever considered that maybe the other person just isn't interested in you? Not in a mean way either. That's just kind of how humans work. Also, this idea that female friendships are so toxic and bitchy. Genuinely, male social dynamics can be insanely nasty too. Like all the indirect comments, reading the room, smiling while secretly annoyed. But honestly, none of that is actually exclusive to women. The difference is just that women's messiness is visible. Women are generally more allowed to show emotion than men are. Not perfectly, obviously, but still more. Like, even when women spiral or get insecure or jealous or openly upset, people might judge them, sure, but they're not seen as completely disgusting in the same way emotionally vulnerable men sometimes are. Anger, anxiety, jealousy, hurt. Those feelings are kinda socially recognized in women. So frustration and emotional tension actually comes out into relationships more openly, and then people go, ugh, women are so bitchy. People say male emotion comes out as violence, and yeah, sometimes it does, but women can be violent too, so clearly this isn't some neat little gender binary thing. That's why I think this whole men versus women framing misses the point a bit. Because in societies where certain emotions aren't allowed to be expressed openly, the toxicity doesn't disappear. It just puts on a different outfit. Ignoring someone becomes a professional decision. Gossip becomes information sharing. Excluding people becomes team dynamics. Cutting someone off becomes personal responsibility. Destroying someone becomes just business. So basically, male toxicity often just gets socially justified. Like, don't show emotion, don't be weak, compete, don't depend on people. If boys grow up hearing that stuff constantly, then of course loads of them never properly learn how to process anger. And then people call men straightforward or simple. But are they actually? Because sometimes men are simple just means they completely cut people off instead of working through emotional conflict. Like, no repair, no awkward conversation, no that hurt me, just gone. And by the way, when I say male society, I don't literally mean men. Loads of women do this too. Some people just cannot talk about being hurt or angry or rejected. So instead of communicating, they disappear, shut people out, destroy the relationship, pretend they never cared in the first place. And somehow that gets labelled being chill or keeping it moving. But honestly, that doesn't seem emotionally detached to me at all. If anything, it feels like emotions running the entire show from underground. Because feelings don't disappear just because society says they're embarrassing. In cultures where emotions are treated as weakness or pathetic or feminine or whatever, people still feel them. Obviously, they just come out sideways, as strategy, as work, as judgment, as cold rational decisions that quietly ruin people's lives. And honestly, being able to actually say that upset me or I felt hurt by that is probably healthier than pretending you're above emotions altogether. That's one thing I actually like about a lot of female friendships. Even when things get awkward or tense, there's often still some attempt at coexistence. People still show up. It's messy, sure. But that messiness sometimes leaves room for repair. And also, is it really cringe for men to show vulnerability to each other? Because honestly, expecting women to do all the emotional caretaking for men instead, that seems way sadder to me.